All right, let's talk about taming chaos. I'm talking about the chaos of corporate IT. And to do that, we need to dive into its unsung hero, Active Directory. It's this incredibly powerful system that's always working behind the scenes, pretty much keeping millions of businesses from just descending into digital anarchy. So, how does it do it? Let's find out. Okay, so picture this. You've got a company, and it's growing fast. New employees are coming in, new computers, tons more data. But here's the problem. Without a central system, the IT department is in total chaos. I mean, every single computer is basically its own little island, right? It's got its own separate login. The IT admin has to literally run from desk to desk just to add a new user or, change a password. It's so inefficient. It's a complete nightmare to manage. And honestly, it's a massive security risk. And this right here, this slide just visualizes the problem perfectly. On the left, you see that work group model. It's a total mess. Every computer for itself, managing its own users, its own security. But on the right, that's the Active Directory model. It's clean, it's centralized. You make one change, and it applies to everyone you want it to. This is how you bring order to the chaos. So, to really get our heads around this, here's our game plan. First, we'll cover what Active Directory even is, then we'll look at its logical blueprint and its physical foundation. After that, we're going to explore the 5 special master roles that keep it all running smoothly, and finally, we'll see how it's managed and secured in today's world. Okay, let's jump right into section 1. What exactly is Active Directory, and how does it fix all that chaos we were just talking about? At its core, Active Directory, or AD as you'll hear it called, is basically a massive, super organized database. Think of it like the ultimate digital address book for your entire network. But it's way more than just names and numbers. It stores info about every single user, computer, printer, you name it, and it manages who gets to do what with all of it. Now, AD handles 2 absolutely critical security jobs, and this slide breaks it down beautifully. First up is authentication. This is all about proving you are who you say you are, usually with your password. It's like showing your ID at the front door. But then there's authorization. Once you're inside, authorization determines which rooms you're actually allowed to go into. AD handles both, and it does it from one central place. So we get what AD does. Now let's move on to section 2 and see how this huge directory is logically structured to keep everything from becoming a jumbled mess. At the very, very top of the hierarchy, you have the forest. The forest is the whole universe for an organization. I mean, for a massive global company, the forest contains everything. All its different divisions, departments, offices all over the world, all tucked under one big security umbrella. Now, inside that forest, you find domain trees. A tree is basically a collection of domains that all share a common root name, kind of like branches growing from the same tree trunk. So, for example, sales.explainer.com and hr.explainer.com would both be part of the main explainer.com tree. Makes sense, right? But the real core building block of this whole structure is the domain. A domain is a group of users, computers, and all sorts of other things that share one single database and security policy. This is where most of the day-to-day action and management actually happens. And to get even more organized inside a domain, we use something called organizational units, or OUs. The easiest way to think about these is just like folders. You can create an OU for the sales team, another one for the finance team, and then you just drop all of their users and computers right inside. This makes it incredibly easy to apply specific settings or hand off management tasks to someone else. So, the takeaway here is this hierarchy. It's what makes the whole thing work. As you can see, it flows from the top-level forest, down into trees, then into individual domains, and finally, it's all organized neatly into OUs. This structure is exactly what allows Active Directory to scale from a tiny business to a massive global enterprise. All right, we've got the logical blueprint down. Let's move into section 3 and look at the physical foundation, the actual servers that make Active Directory come to life. The real workhorse of Active Directory is the domain controller. This is a server, a physical piece of hardware that holds a copy of that AD database we've been talking about. When you log into your computer, a domain controller is what checks your password. When an IT admin adds a new user, that change is made on a domain controller, and then it's copied or replicated to all the others to make sure everyone is on the same page. Now, besides your standard domain controllers, there are a few other specialized server roles. You've got things like global catalogs, which help you find stuff across the entire forest, But some of the most critical roles of all belong to the operations masters, which, conveniently, we're about to dive into right now. And that brings us to Section 4, the 5 master roles. You can think of these as the absolute rules of the road for AD. They are essential for preventing conflicts and keeping the entire directory perfectly in sync. So most of the time, Active Directory runs on what's called a multi-master model. That means changes can be made on any domain controller. But for some really, really critical operations, that could be a total disaster. Just imagine 2 admins trying to rename a domain at the exact same time. That's why we have the single master model. For certain crucial tasks, only one server gets to be in charge, period. So these special single master jobs are handled by what are called the 5 FSMO roles. Each one has a super specific, non-negotiable task. Think of it like a team of specialists. You've got the schema master, that's the architect, defining the very blueprint of the directory. Then there's the domain naming master, which is like the official registrar, making sure no 2 domains get the same name. The RID master, that's the ID dispenser, handing out unique serial numbers to every user and computer so nothing ever gets mixed up. Next up is the PDC emulator, a really big one. It's the timekeeper for the whole network and the final authority on password changes. And last but not least, the infrastructure master. It's the link manager, making sure references between different domains stay up to date. See? Together, this team is what prevents that digital chaos we talked about. All right, on to our final section. We know how AD is built, we know how it runs. So let's talk about the modern challenge, how you actually manage and secure this thing. Well, the tools we use have definitely evolved. For years and years, admins used this classic tool you see on the right, ADUC. It kind of looks like the old Windows Explorer. But the modern tool, ADAC on the left, not only has a cleaner interface, but it also hooks directly into PowerShell. And this is huge because it lets admins automate really complex tasks with scripts. It's been a total game changer for efficiency. And because Active Directory is basically the keys to the entire kingdom, you can bet it's a massive target for attackers. So take a look at this number, 25.6 billion. What do you think that is? Well, that is the number of brute force authentication attacks, that's hackers just trying to guess passwords over and over, that Microsoft systems blocked in a single year. A single year! The threat isn't just big, it's constant, and it is absolutely enormous. So how on earth do you defend against that kind of threat? Well, today, AI is a crucial ally. AI-powered systems can spot anomalies in real time. You know, like someone logging in from a strange country at 3 in the morning. It can automatically disable a suspicious account to stop an attack cold, and can even start predicting risks before hackers have a chance to exploit them. And that really brings us to the key takeaway here. Even though it's been around for over 20 years, the core ideas behind Active Directory are more important than ever. It gives you that centralized management to tame complexity, enhance security to protect your most vital assets, and the scalability to grow with any organization, big or small. So, as we wrap up, it really all comes back to a simple question. In a world that's filled with digital chaos, Active Directory provides the structure, the order. The only real question left is your digital office organized? Thanks for joining me.